Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show. Now, today I'm just going out and I'm lowering my crime stat rating. And one of the things that I was thinking about while I was doing this is hacking. Because basically, in the game right now, you go to Security Post Korea. There's only one place in the entire universe where you can go. The entire universe, this little corner of it, this little kernel. To lower your crime stat rating. There's only one place that you can go to do this, and you do it. You go to the panel, you hit it, and it hacks automatically for you. And for the alpha, for what it is, it's actually a pretty decent system. I like it because everyone knows where you're going to go to do this, so you always have the threat of other people walking in on you when you're trying to lower your crime stat. And I've only got one crime stat, so I'm pretty solid, you know. But if I had to go in there and lower 5, which I've done before, that's pretty murderous. And that is a very tense time because the higher your crime stat, the longer it takes to hack it down. Whereas I only have one, so you're going to see in the video, it doesn't take that long to do. And realistically, this little mission could have been a lot more punishing than it was. Yeah, I brought out my cutlass, but I forgot that I had taken the guns off of my cutlass, so it's I realized that a little too late, and yeah, it made for some tension. But when I'm doing this, one of the things that was supposed to be in 2.6 was there was supposed to be hacking booths. At one point, they were saying, "Oh, there's going to be hacking booths in 2.6," and then that quietly dropped off the radar. And I was really hoping that we were going to hear something about this because I would like to know how this side of the criminal universe is going to develop. I would like to know what's going to happen with it, because so much of what we've talked about has been ships running and gunning, shooting this, snaring that, preventing this guy from warping away, that sort of stuff. But I would like to hear more about the clandestine nature of the criminal world in the Star Citizen universe. I would like to hear more about, how are we going to accomplish these things? How are we going to hack? How are we going to spoof IDs, unlock ships, unlock crates, change the IDs on them, all that sort of stuff. I would like to hear more about these systems. Now, this early on in game development, of course, there's probably not a lot to say in terms of this is what it will actually be, this is what it will look like, this is how it's all going to work, because we're just not there yet, But what I would like to hear from the devs is where their heads are at. What are they thinking? What are they looking at for inspiration in these directions? And that's always kind of a funny thing with Star Citizen is, developers are often very quiet and very reticent about giving details on things because we know how that plays out. Oh, you originally sold the Cartual with 6 guns. Now it only has 2. What's up with that? Rawr. That sort of thing. But I would just like to know what the developers are looking to for inspiration. What's the spirit of the idea that they want for the game? What do they want the game in those terms, in the terms of hacking and clandestine operations? What do they want that game to be? How do they want it to play out? I would love to hear those things. One of the systems that I think would work well for Star Citizen with some adaptation, I think, would be the system that they use in Deus Ex. Now, the hacking system in Deus Ex is rudimentary, and it's meant to be accessible to just about anyone. In general, it's just a mini game. Find your way to, through the maze to the information that you're trying to unlock or gain access to before, the system finds out you're there and sets off the alarm. It's simplistic, But in a way, it is very interesting because there's various ways that you can go about it and different ways that you can play it depending on your character's skill. Oh, this is actually... I was just about to go through that door and I can hear someone's footsteps on the other side of it, so I'm like, no, I think I'll go around to the other door. But back to the matter at hand, the Deus Ex system, though simplistic, it was fun and it was interesting, and there were different ways that you could play through it, so I really kind of like that system. And I'm not saying take that system, lift it, and 100% put it into Star Citizen, but I think that that's a good starting point to look at, is the hacking in Deus Ex. Now, one of the things that added further dimensions to that was the implants that you could put in your character. You could get specialized implants for hacking and to prevent detection of your hacks. So you could actually go into some pretty tough systems and you could hack right through them like they were nothing if you had, you know, specialized in the right implants or the right skill packs. I forget exactly what they were called in the game. But if you think about it in the Star Citizen context, you know, sure, like people can lose limbs or whatever and they're replaced by cybernetic parts in Star Citizen, or they're going to be, but you know, they really haven't said, oh, you're going to get brain implants and stuff like that. But one of the things that I think that would be really interesting to do is in Star Citizen to create another set of armor, but unlike the armor that we already have, this is an armor that offers protection, but it allows you to carry various pieces of equipment with you for the purposes of hacking or infiltration and things like that. It may be like a shielded piece of armor that not so much shielding to protect you, but shielding to prevent electronic emissions from getting out, or from whatever body signals sensors use to identify you from being identified by enemy sensors, so that you can sneak into places and then use those pieces of equipment on your suit to hack through people's systems faster, or door locks or cargo container locks or whatever. I think something like that would be really, really cool to have in the game. And I'd be really interested to see where the developers are thinking and what they want to do with those types of things in the game. Recently, you know, we've seen Tony Zurabek talking about creating the mission system and how it creates missions and how they kind of populate them and create all these things that populate our world and make it look more like a living world and subsumption and all of that. But one of the things that I would love to hear them say is that we're looking at providing players with asymmetrical solutions to their problems. Like, let's say you walk in and you get a mission and it says, go into this pirate base and steal back these 5 crates of, you know, whatever for me. Now, of course, you can just go in there and you can just shoot the place up. You can grab the crates and bounce. Fine, perfect. Mission completed. You're a hero. But I would like to hear about, well, what if you want to do it a little bit more sly? What if you want to go and spoof an ID, go to a satellite, hack in, steal an ID, and then use that for your character to just walk into the pirate base? And then maybe you can go into their systems and hack a shipping order to say, oh, hand these 5 crates over to such and such, who is going to fly them over to here. And so they would go and then just load the crates onto your ship for you. And you basically, you could land your ship right at the base using these skill sets. And you could load up the crates and you could go through the entire mission. And by the time anyone's the wiser, you've already escaped. I would love to hear that missions are going to have like these sort of asymmetrical solutions, and that they're not just going to be a linear function where you're just like, you know, go to this base, steal 5 crates, kill 5 pirates, hand it in, cha-ching, you level up. That sort of World of Warcraft style mission running, I would despise to see that in a game with this much depth. I think I would like to see missions that have different possible solutions. Maybe you're sent to assassinate a person. Well, you can go in and you can just shoot up their whole base and kill all their guards and then kill them. But what if you can stealthily sneak in and then line up a sniper shot on them from like a kilometer away or some crazy shit like that, take them out, and then just bounce, and no one's the wiser, no one catches you before you escape. I would love to hear that that's something that's going to be in the game, is asymmetrical solutions, different ways to go about solving that equation or that problem as the game presents it to you. Now, I know that this early on in game development, developers are, they despise the idea of getting into specifics because things change, and frequently they do. But I would love to hear them sit down and just talk about the spirit of things, what they're going for, how do they want to present it. We're not really sure, what hacking equipment we're going to put in the game, but here's kind of how we want you to go about it, and here's kind of where our heads are at, and here are some of the ideas that we're exploring, that sort of stuff. And I mean, even opening up the forums and saying, hey, we were looking at Deus Ex and we were thinking, hey, that's a pretty decent hacking system. Guys, what kind of improvements would you suggest? What kind of changes? What kind of interface? Stuff like that. I feel that so often when the developers are engaged with the community, there's always this kind of like push and pull where they're like, we don't want to give specifics, we don't want to give specifics. But I think if you present an idea as, this is the spirit of what we're going for, this is what we feel that we want from this mission, I think it'll get a much more positive reception, and much more positive back and forth with the community, rather than being in a situation where it's like, oh, that's a terrible idea, or blah blah blah. And it just avoids a situation where maybe something is implemented that the community didn't get to see early enough, and now they're kind of committed to it because they've already spent so much time on it, and they're like, yeah, no, they're kind of right, this does kind of suck, but we already spent months building it out, so they'll just have to deal with it, that sort of thing. Anyways, that's just some of my ramblings and thoughts on hacking, infiltration, and some of the things that I'd like to see and hear in the future. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.